What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing today? We under the canopy with the trees and the sun today. It's a beautiful day for another one, man. I'm gonna tell you what, there are seasons of life that don't make sense while you're living them. A door closes, a relationship changes, a dream even falls apart. Something you prayed for would stay is suddenly gone. And if you're anything like me, the first question is usually, God, why? I've asked this question more than one time and more than I'd like to. Like, why this opportunity? Why now? Like, why would you allow something good to end? But the older I get, the more I realize that God often does some of his deepest works through what he removes. Jesus said something that's always stood out to me. He said that the Father is the gardener, and every branch that bears fruit, he prunes it. I thought about that a lot. Notice what Jesus didn't say. He didn't say that the dead branches are pruned. He said that the fruitful ones are. That's surprising because we tend to think that if we're growing, then it should become easier. Life should. Instead, sometimes growth invites pruning. At first, that seems unfair. If a branch is producing fruit, why cut it? Then I started thinking about an actual vineyard. A gardener doesn't prune a healthy branch because he dislikes it. He prunes it because he sees what it could become, and he removes what's limiting future growth. He cuts back what's draining life. He makes room for something great. And maybe God does the same thing with us. And I've noticed that pruning rarely feels good. Sometimes it's losing something that we loved. Sometimes it's letting go of an identity that we've carried for years. And sometimes it's releasing a dream we were once convinced would happen. Sometimes it's discovering that even good things can become distractions from the best things. That's hard because we naturally hold on tightly to what's familiar. We assume that if something's good, it must always be God's plan for us. But sometimes God asks us to release something good because He's preparing us for something that we couldn't see. And I've also realized that pruning, it isn't always about removing things around us. Sometimes it's about changing things within us. Our pride and our impatience, our need for control and our desire for approval, our fear of failure. Those things don't disappear overnight. The gardener patiently works on them, little by little, every day, season after season. Sometimes with cuts that sting, but never without purpose. And I've learned that God never wastes pain. That doesn't mean that every painful thing comes from Him, because we still live in a broken world. People make sinful choices. Loss is real, grief is real, heartbreak, that's real too. But even in those places, God is able to redeem what seems beyond repair. That's one of the most beautiful truths of the gospel. Nothing placed in his hands is beyond his ability to restore us. And I found myself looking back at the seasons that I once begged God to end. At the time, they felt unbearable. Today, I see that they changed me. They taught me dependence and they exposed idols I didn't know I had. They deepened my compassion. They reminded me that security was never supposed to rest in temporary things. If I could go back, I don't know that I'd ask for those seasons, but I also wouldn't erase what God produced through them. And one thing that I've learned about gardeners, I'll tell you what, they don't panic when growth is slow. They understand seasons. Winter doesn't mean that the tree is dead. Spring doesn't arrive because the tree tries harder. Growth happens according to wisdom built into creation. And I think that God's patient with us. Sometimes we become discouraged because we aren't where we want to be right now. And we compare ourselves to someone else. We compare our level 1 to someone's level 20, and we assume that we're failing, right? We wonder why our progress seems slow. Meanwhile, the gardener, he's still working, still watering, still pruning, still growing roots beneath the surface, work that we cannot yet see. And maybe that's where you are today. Maybe you're in a season that feels more like cutting than growing. more like lost in abundance. If that's true, don't assume that the gardener's forgotten you or that he's finished working. Healthy branches are always pruned, not because they're failing, but because they're being prepared for greater fruit. And I don't know exactly what God is doing in every season of your life or in my life. Most of the time, I only understand it after I've walked through it, right? But slowly, I'm learning to trust the person holding the pruning shears. They may be snippy and sharp, but it's because they're the same hands that form the stars, the same hand that healed me, the same hand that stretched out the cross for me. And if I can truly trust those hands with my eternity, I can trust them with this season too. So maybe today, instead of asking, God, why are you taking things away from me? I'll begin asking, Lord, what are you growing in me? Because the gardener never prunes without purpose. And every cut that he allows to your life is ultimately going to be aimed at producing a harvest that is much more beautiful than the branch could have imagined. You're that little branch, man. Don't give up just because you're a hurt little branch. But I appreciate you, man. I appreciate y'all just for being here. And until next time, peace.